Welcome to the Charleston CFO Council. This organization was co-founded in 2015 by Robert Bendetti and Mark Carmichael in order to provide a networking and educational forum for senior financial executives to share best practices, to discuss current financial issues, and to learn about current topics related to the performance of their job.
Good morning, William. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Robert. Doing very well. Hope you are.
I am doing great. I told you before we started I'm a little cold, so if I start shivering, it's because I am working in my shop. There's a little room. It used to be the man cave, and I've got a wall heater, and I kind of slept in a little bit, if I'm being honest, and I just turned that heater on about 5 minutes before we started. So if I go like this, it's not because you're making me nervous. It's because I'm freezing.
Oh, very good.
Well, William Barefoot is the CFO of Real Performance Machinery, or RPM. That's headquartered out just outside of Charleston in Somerville. But William is out of Florence, so working remote. He was doing it before it was cool. And before being the CFO of RPM, he was a CPA at Webster Rogers, and for a long time. And William, I think you got your undergrad in finance from the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. Is that correct, sir?
That is correct.
William is a CPA and a CGMA. And one interesting thing I found out about you is super active in the community. I saw a long list. I'm not going to read them all because it'll start making me feel bad of not having the kind of impact that William is. But William, I think you are super active in the Red Cross right now. Is that true?
That is true. I currently have the privilege of serving as the board chair for the Eastern South Carolina chapter.
Well, that is awesome. What a need now more than ever to be volunteering with the Red Cross. So great job, William. Let's get into it. All right. Question number one is, what is your favorite business book and why?
Well, it's hard, anytime you're asked your favorite question, at least for me, it's always hard to narrow it down to one. But if I had to pick one, it would be a book I read a couple of years ago by a former Navy SEAL. He and his partner, who were both SEALs, wrote Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win. I'm sure many people have heard about it. I read it. I actually read it 2 or 3 times. The main point that book, is getting across is, taking responsibility for everything within your organization, even if you're not directly responsible. And that's just because the success of the team, the success of the mission, if you will, depends on, everybody being, all in and taking ownership for the areas that they control, but also if they can see a way to help out, make improvements, chip in, whatever, just to make sure that the team is successful.
William, you are the first one to mention that book, and it is my favorite book. So well done.
Yeah.
If my son is listening to this right now as he's editing, then he is going to be smiling because I talk about Jocko Willink and Leif Haven a lot.
Yes. Well, I actually encouraged my son to read the book as well, and a couple of his other books. So I agree. It's they're good reads, a lot of good information.
Absolutely. Have you ever been to? Do you listen to Jocko's podcast, or have you ever been to one of his conferences called the Muster?
I have not. I have not listened to the podcast or been to any of his presentations. There's another group, the Afterburner group, that is very similar. It's retired military leaders, usually aviators, and I did have the privilege of seeing them at a conference one time. So I think there's a lot of, the military obviously is a great service to the country. A lot of fabulous men and women are part of the services, and they there's a lot of lessons they learn there that they can take out that are really applicable to business and doing well in an organization, discipline and all those things that they learn in the military or already are part of their makeup, their DNA.
Question number 2: what is the best advice that you've ever received?
I think back, over the years, and one thing that always sticks with me is from my father. He always said, if you're going to start something, finish it. Don't leave anything half done. Don't leave it for someone else to come in and clean up your mess. So that's kind of stuck with me over many, many years. And again, if I had to choose the best of anything I've been given over the years, it would be that. If you're going to start something, do your best to finish it.
William, what about a tool that you've recently started using or a habit that you've recently picked up that you've found beneficial?
Again, this kind of stems a little bit from the Extreme Ownership book, but Robert, a couple of years ago, I made a conscious decision that I was, not going to stay up late nights and watch TV or get distracted anymore. I was going to make an effort to get a good amount of rest. And that, of course, led to being able to get up earlier and, start my day earlier. And I find for me personally, being a early morning person and being more productive in the early hours of the morning than a lot of time before anybody else is up and about. You can plan your day. You've got some time to think. You've got some time to do some, analysis or in-depth work without distractions. And so, a couple of years ago when I started that's when I really started to enjoy work and enjoy, getting things done and being able to get things done, without distractions before the day starts, and then you start, kind of getting derailed from what you had intended to do that day.
William, you are a new employee at Real Performance Machinery. I think you've been there like 3 months. So this is, when I say current job, I mean real current. So so it's only got 3 months, so probably everything's awesome. But
Right.
what is the favorite part of your current job at RPM?
Well, thanks, Robert. Yeah, it's really only been maybe 6 weeks at this point, so it is very new. It's very, very exciting. The best part about my current job, it is a rapidly growing company. It's got what I think is a very unique product. We build. We sell, build, and install and service machinery for the sawmill industry, and it's a very exciting product. It's for years working for many organizations, which again was exciting in itself when you're you know wearing many different hats for many different companies, to come in and to really get deep in an organization that has just a lot of potential and just has a lot going on right now. That's the best part. There's lots to do, exciting. There's growth. So yeah, it's been a very interesting and a very rewarding 6 weeks.
You were what I'd call like a fractional CFO, fractional executive for a lot of companies in South Carolina when you were at Webster's Rogers, and I'm sure amongst many other things you did for that firm. Does it feel weird to have one client versus 10 or 20, or does it feel great?
It's what I had been thinking about for many years. I mean, for the last 10 or so years, I had primarily been focused on, outsourced accounting, outsourced controllership, outsourced CFO, business consulting for, as you mentioned, anywhere from 15 to 25 organizations. And, when you do that, you get to experience a lot of different industries and work with a lot of different companies, but you can't really get deep. You can't get really deep in an organization and really get down and dig into the nuts and bolts, what's making it tick, to where you can really see what you need to recommend for either improvements or what you can build on that's already being done well. So I would say that it is different. Both situations were exciting, but being in a situation where you can really spend the time and really get to know an organization without having to without having to worry about charging them for every hour that you're looking into it as well. The billable hour is a huge plus.
William, what is something personal that you will be willing to share with the rest of the CFO Council about yourself?
I would have to say that, personally, I really enjoy work. I enjoy, I don't mind working long hours, but I do enjoy my downtime with my family. I enjoy getting away to our little beach getaway, or going away to the mountains, or somewhere in our travel trailer. So, I firmly believe in a good work-life balance. I believe when you're at work, you give it 110%. But I believe that you do need to get away and recharge and spend some time with, your family and those that you love and working for. So I think you have to have a good discipline for separating the two.
William, what is something I should have asked that I didn't ask, and what is your answer to that?
Well, in kind of thinking about that, you really kind of hit on the question that I guess I'd been thinking about. Kudos to you. You actually predicted that I would say, or I would want to share that one of the things I got asked after being in public accounting for 25 plus years was why would you want to leave public accounting after so long and focus on just one organization. So just maybe expanding on that a little bit more is that over the years as I worked in public accounting, it was always a dream, I guess, if you will, to be able to be part of the executive team of an organization and be able to share in their successes and maybe take the blame when things didn't exactly go as well as you had hoped, but also having the responsibility for making sure that they were successful. It's been very interesting looking at things from the organization side versus the CPA side. I think it helps a bit in anticipating what the organization needs for the outside organizations. I think being a CPA in public practice for so long, I think helps with those relationships with our banking partners, our suppliers, and even our customers. So it's it is a bit different working on the client side and the CFO side than being a CPA, but it is the right opportunity, came along at the right time, and I was glad to be able to take it.
It's so funny, as a CPA who's only worked in corporate America, I've always thought, oh, I bet it's so dreamy to be at a CPA firm and all you're doing is reporting on what happened. You don't have to take responsibility for the terrible numbers. You can just give the company a hard time and tell them to do better, and then send them a bill. And it always seemed like, oh, that must be the life to be a CPA.
There are definite pros and cons to both sides. I think anybody, I think it would do anyone some good to actually spend some time in both roles. But it's definitely interesting being on the client side or the CFO side at this point.
Well, welcome to the CFO side, the dark side, and the CFO Council. Thank you for being a member and agreeing to do this. William, I saw a theme started from the book around extreme ownership and discipline in how you frame your day. It's not easy to say, oh, I'm going to start going to bed early so I can get up early and I can attack the day every day. And I just think that it shows a little bit about you and explains why I like you. So welcome.
Thanks for allowing me to join, and I look forward to getting to know you a little bit better, as well as many of the other members.
Well, we'll be back to having some meetings, at least in Charleston. I'm prayerfully thinking Q3. So if you want to drive from Florence to Charleston, and then I think maybe next year we'll have a group in the Midlands, probably meeting in Columbia. I don't know if that's closer or not to you, but it is a pleasure to be meeting with you virtually now. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, and I look forward to meeting everyone in person as well.
Have a great day.